Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We are here today to talk about something important. And if you are here with me, you likely are not in Montgomery, but do not worry because this is real where the real work happens. This is where change meets reality. And it starts right here by building community. If you are joining me today, hopefully that means you have already signed up to be a circle leader. And if you haven't, please do so or share the link with your friends at 1 million Black Voters Rising or 1mbvr.org, 1 million Black Voters Rising.org. It is not too late to sign up to be a circle leader. As a matter of fact, let me make sure that you are very clear. We will take you signing up to be a circle leader at any time. My hope and goal is that by the time you all start building these circles and by the time you all start meeting in these circles and building these communities, that many of your early adapters into your circles will become circle leaders and they too can build their circle because that is how we win. So today, we are going on the next step in our journey. We are moving from one, that is you as a circle leader, to 10. Those are the members of your circle. Again, we're praying that those 10 will maybe one day become their circle leaders, 100. And before you know it, it has exponentially grown to 1 million Black Voters Rising. That is our goal. And that is what we are trying to do. This is not a 2026 program. This is a building 2026, sustaining 2027, empowering 2028. This is really the basis of what Black power building looks like. I am so good morning, Kay. Yes, you all talk to me and let me know you're there. Good morning, Kay. Let me know where you're phoning in from. Tell me about all the excitement that you have. Feel free to ask questions. I am paying attention. I am paying attention. I am paying attention to all the things in the chat, and we will build that in. All right, let's get started. Okay, so here is the journey. Being a circle leader means that you are on this journey, and there are 6 phases to it. Welcome from Miami, welcome from Atlanta, signing up and checking your own registration, and then finding other people to help us sign up to be circle leaders is phase one. We are going to need an army to reach out to these 1 million Black voters. Once you've signed up, then because you're not doing this alone. Let me be clear. We start with you as an individual, but even once you sign up to be a circle leader, you're already in the community. We're already working with you. Me and Chantel and Holly Weeks and Karen Finney and all of the organizations that make up the Black Women's Leadership Collective, we already reached 20 million people through all of those lenses. And so recognizing that we can then add to that simply by managing a measly 1 million, girls, we got this. All right. So now we got to learn how we're going to do this. All right, Chicago and Brooklyn, I see y'all in the house. Miami and Florida. Okay, lots of Florida people. How do we build this together is though the key. Building it together. So, where this training is going to be about how you get to your circle of 10, where you find them. Once we've done that, the third phase is we're not going to just be asking people, are you registered to vote? Because one, that don't work. Two, a lot of them are going to lie to you. And at the end of the day, is not what this is. This is about creating relationships. And relationships, every single one, are built through conversation. The next thing is once we are in community through our conversation, and we're going to be asking you to do at least 4. Don't feel nervous about those conversations because we got lots of trainings to help you get that going as well. But we then want you to prepare. We want you to review your candidates and your ballots together, make a voting plan, make sure everybody has all the information. Good morning, Jacqueline. That you are then ready to go. And when you know what's on the ballot and you all have reviewed it as a community, now you're ready to do the fun part. And you know what the fun part is? Voting. That's right. Now we all vote together. And what's powerful about that is it becomes very clear we are not voting alone. We are voting with 10 people, with 100 people. Dare I say, all 1 million of us that have been built through your efforts, we are all going to the polls together. And that is a statement. And then, of course, because what's a good party without a celebration? So once we move our 1 million, we're going to celebrate. We're going to acknowledge. And most importantly, we're going to let people know that Black women are still leading, that Black women are still rising, and that we are at the forefront of the change that we seek to see. We wait on nobody to save us, we save ourselves. And just as importantly, we're going to be building momentum for the next cycle because, as you all know, the minute we get through with this cycle and electing people to Congress and to our state legislatures, y'all, we're going to be talking about the presidency. And so we are going to be already ready for that. And oh, we got so much good stuff coming up with that. But let me not get ahead of myself. Let's move on to the next part of this training. All right, so let's talk about this. Come on, North Carolina, I see you. Let's talk about who is in the circle. And this is really, really important. It will feel, because many of us have been sort of conditioned to go out into the world and go to your high schools and go to your grocery stores and hang out at bus depots and register people who we believe are in these groups. But here's a secret: we've done that before and we'll continue to do it. But yet and still, we still missed a whole group of people. And it turns out that many of those people that we missed are our friends. Many of those people that we missed are our family and neighbors, former classmates. Many of those people that we missed are in our contact list in our phones right now. And we cannot let that be the story as we go to elections for this year. We cannot. We have to make sure that before we get everybody in the world set up, that we get our family and our friends in order. In other words, we need to make sure that the people in our house are good. Now, maybe it's not the people in your literal house, but I'm talking about the people who you have relationships with. So who could and should this include, and how do you find them? Well, let's start by identifying some of the folks. First, we could be talking about any gender or any background. This movement is led by women but open to everybody. So we want to get that diversity of experience. Yes, that means men, women, non-binary. That means people with disabilities. That means LGBTQ plus. That means formerly incarcerated. That means people who may be unhoused. That means people who are living and surfing on your couch or your kids' couch or your kids' friends. That means them cousins, them cousins that show up to the family reunion and always talking about how voting is not important. All of them people, them is the people that we're going to start with. Of course, we need to be very conscientious of people who are younger voters, 18 and up. And I'm going to say 18 to 35 is a big target group. These are the voters who, frankly, they're just cynical. They're the ones that quick to tell you, oh, we see you out here voting, but what has changed? And then you remind them, well, actually, when we were voting, we were building change, and then your butt didn't show up, and now we back to where we started. Had you been voting, maybe we wouldn't even be here. Maybe we could be building instead of rebuilding. But you know what? Here we are. So now we need you. Unregistered voters. So listen, people find themselves to be unregistered for all kinds of reasons. It's not just because they didn't fill out a form. Sometimes they fill out the form and there's problems with the forms. I want to also note that the purge is real. Let me say that 15 times slow. The purge is real. We have states where more than 1 million voters have literally been purged. 500,000 of those Black voters purged. And so there is a real possibility that people may be registered or think they're registered and they're not. And here's the reality: it takes less than 2 minutes to check. So why not just check? And more importantly, you don't even have to leave your home. You can go to 1 million Black Voters Rising and use those registration tools. Use the tool to both register yourself or to check your registration. And listen, the state board of elections has a way to manage duplicates. So even if you register multiple times because you're just not sure if you are, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to work out. Here's the other group that we need once we get those unregistered voters. We need those voters who didn't vote. The card carrying cynics, the ones walking around with their chest puffed out, talking about, I don't never vote in elections. We need them. We need them to be part of our community. And so we got who the people are. Now the question is, where are the people? Where do we find these mythical creatures? Well, and I know this is not going to be easy to hear, but we find them in our own inner circle. Come on, Middlesex, New Jersey. You know what I'm talking about. We find them in our own inner circle. They are our family, our close friends, and our longtime neighbors. People, again, who are in your phone right now. But here's the deal: we're not calling them and saying, hey, I'm part of this voter program and I want you to be in on it. You say, you know what? I am looking for you. I think we ought to be talking together about how we work ourselves out of this change. I was having a conversation yesterday with my best friend, and her son called. And my best friend, of course, is a circle leader. Come on now. And she was like, girl, I'm really trying to make sure that I get my son in this circle because him and some of his friends are one of the reasons that I even wanted to do this. And I said, okay, well, this should be easy. You're his mom. Tell him to get in a circle. She's like, yeah, but I don't want to be that mom. I don't want to be that person. And I said, okay, well, let's figure out what he cares about and then engage him. Lo and behold, he calls and he is complaining about gas prices. He's like, Mom, I done spent almost $100 in the last week just on gas and I ain't been nowhere. And I immediately jumped in and said, well, why do you think that is? And he's like, oh, Holly, I didn't know you was in town. Okay, we'll forget that part. And then I said, okay, yes, yes, I'm in town, but I'm worried about this gas too. Next thing you know, he starts telling me about why the gas prices are so high. And I said to him, I said, well, we got to figure this out. He said, well, somebody does. I said, I think the somebody is us. And you know what he said? He said, you might be right. And I knew right then, bam, I had him. And my best friend looked at me and said, yep, okay, I needed that live demonstration. And now I know what to do. And the thing is that and then I literally said to him, you know what we should do? We should get some of I said, do you have other friends that are concerned about these gas prices? He said, everybody I know is concerned about it. I said, we should get together and have a conversation about this and figure out what do we do when the gas prices are this high? How can we help and support each other? And he was like, he said, yeah, I would be willing to do that. He said, and my friends would be down for it because we're paying for this stuff every day and nobody is talking about helping us. I said, and again, this is how we help ourselves. So that was just the beginning of what could be a circle. The other thing is reach out to your wider network. Think about your former classmates, co-workers, people you know, but maybe you haven't talked to. Think about sending them a note It could be a voice note. It needs to be personal though, not a group blast. You don't want to send a text and be like, I'm about to register all the people, y'all. Come on, let's do it. No, we want this to be about building relationships. Yes, it's going to be methodical. And yes, at times it may feel a little bit slow. But I promise you, as you are building your community, you will start to see how people come together and how engaged people who weren't previously engaged can be. Friends, I want to also, just before I get to these last two, this is an opportunity. Please ask me questions, put them in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. Also, if you have ideas, or maybe you've already started building your circle, talk about what has worked with you. Sharing is caring, and that's how we build this community. These are some ways, these are not all the ways, and we're going to get through this together. So please drop in the chat, continue to share. We'll shout them out. The other place to be, where to look, is think about your wider network, friends, family, and extended family. This is not just the people who you know, this is the people who you want to know. You want copies of the slides? Of course, I'm going to make sure you get them. And actually, you can get a full download of this via your toolkit, which is available right now at 1millionblackvoters.rising.org, and go to the resource section. And you can download, it's going to be your toolkit that has all the information that is here on these slides. I'm not going to just send you out there with nothing. We got to have all of the stuff at our hands. But so you can also look at the friends of the friends. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really cook, but I know when my best friend cooks, and she cooked on Friday and she made a big thing of pasta, all the people came. And it wasn't just her kids, they friends came. And so she was able to get them. It wasn't just a cousin, it was the friend of the cousin. And so the way you think about this is not just how you get the people you know, but who are those other people? So if you know one person who you think is unregistered, or one person who you know is not engaged, they probably know a whole community of people. So you ask them, hey, don't just come by yourself, bring them two friends with you. That is how you build it, and ask your folks to do it together. Here's another thing: there's nothing that says that circle leaders can't work together. As a matter of fact, we encourage that. And so you all may find that it may be better for you to get two circle leaders together and y'all host 20 folks, and have that conversation. Okay, we've got a question and a tip. Let's put that up so everyone can see it. It says, could we please add to our process a focus on making sure everyone has documentation to prove citizenship? Okay, that's interesting. So here's the good thing about that: we should certainly make sure that people know that they will need that, but the process of registering to vote will take them through it, because at the end of the day, our work is getting them to go through the process. And we should certainly educate them and let them know that they may need documentation for that, but also the system will encourage them to do that. We should absolutely be, especially if we know that folks may be targeted for that, we should help them make sure that they are 100% ready to answer any and all questions related to registering to vote. And as a matter of fact, you know what? That's an excellent way to start to build your circle, is to reach out to people who may be concerned about their citizenship, or concerned about having to prove their citizenship. And let's have a conversation about A, why the hell is that? And B, what do we need to do to help and support? And then one of the final places that we're going to lift up, and again, this is not the exhaustive list, this is just a list, is community spaces. This could be your church, your club, your sorority, your fraternity, your book club, your neighborhood association. And I already know you're like, oh, they're active, so of course they're voting. No, they're not. No, they're not. Because you don't get more than 20 million Black people not voting and it not be the people sitting next to you in the pew. I'm sorry, it's just impossible. And so when we know we're only getting 20% of the vote, which by the way, in many communities, 20% is high, that means only 1 in 5 Black people eligible to vote in that community voted. Where them other four people? Where them other four people? You trying to tell me you don't know none of them? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Ain't buying it. So here's the thing. Here's a pro tip. And again, this is about building community. This is about being social. So think about this. Invite a friend along. Ask someone who they already know. Make sure when two people have joined your circle, then think about how you then talk to them about how to build other people and how to invite other people. And one of the reasons, by the way, that we kept this as small as we have is because we want to engage people. People know this stuff. They watch the news, or at least they get it on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and a few of us on LinkedIn. So we know that the world is going to hell. We already know. We live in it. We don't even need to look on the news to know that. But what we don't know is what we can do about it. What we don't know is sometimes that we are powerful. And so, as Jacqueline is saying, there are so many ways into this voter engagement conversation, and we need to be looking at every single one of them. Okay, now we know the who, now we know the where. So the next part is, what are we inviting them to? What you're inviting them to is to be part of a community. We refer to our community here as a circle, and we do that very intentionally because we want you to think of it in a small way, because all of these small pieces together are going to build our power, and you can do that a couple of ways. We encourage in person, do the pull up, host a low key gathering before you even formally ask them. You know, maybe you're playing cards or have food and music, some easy conversation. Let people feel the vibe. You don't want to spend no money. That's okay. People just love a good time. Invite people over for coffee and conversation. Make it easy on yourself. And we know that the ones who are ready to have this conversation, that have been dying to be in communities, those would be the ones that lean in. Listen, I'm getting ready. They don't even know it. I'm at my brother's house today, and I'm going to my nephew's graduation party. That is about to be a whole bunch of people coming through that I'm low key about to hit up and figure out which one of them needs to be in my circle. They don't even know it's coming, but it is. I'm taking advantage of this graduation party, and I'm going to be taking photos and selfies and all the time clicking them right into my circle. If you don't have a graduation party coming up or a social activity. Oh, and by the way, yes, I get it. I low key took advantage of somebody else's event to build my circle. You can feel free to do that too, but don't tell them I'm doing it. All right. The other thing is, it doesn't always have to just be a group. Ultimately, we do want you to have the group conversation. And as you solidify your circle, we want to encourage you to do that in groups so people can see each other, so they can learn from each other, and more importantly, so they can build community. But to start, maybe you start by having just a one on one coffee. Maybe you start by having just a conversation. Maybe you start by just reconnecting. And yes, as important it is for us to, like, as the kids say, be outside, some of our people that we need to get to, we can't get to them outside. So FaceTime or Zoom, or recording a personal video, inviting folks to come and participate with you is maybe another way to do it. I will admit I have recently, I mean, it's not like it's new, but I have recently upped my game on voice notes, and I am surprised at how much people respond to those. So they are very, very effective. Again, especially when you're talking to people that you know. I don't always have time to type, and my spelling is terrible, and I end up hitting all the wrong keys. But I hit that audio on my voice note and really Literally less than 30 seconds later, I am done. I have sent and I am on to my next thing. So, this is a great way to encourage people. Here's the bottom line: whether it is online or whether it is in person, the key is we want you to be warm, welcoming, and friendly. We want you to engage people at the point of inviting them in to be a part of a space in a community where they are not judged because they have made the decision actively, if we're being honest, not to vote, but that what you're seeking to do is to create a level of understanding. That is where we need to meet people, exactly where they are. Okay, once we have started doing that, what do we do with these people? Well, as they say, this is real work begins, and this is where we really start to leverage and lean in to what community looks like. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts about this as well, but here's some things that we recommend. Create some group spaces. This can be a WhatsApp or a group me. Name it something meaningful or fun. um you know this becomes your, as they say, ambient home between gatherings. I love that word, ambient. A way for you to connect maybe when others aren't connecting. You can look at doing a kickoff gathering. And by the way, one opportunity to do this is to invite your circle of 10 to be part of our national launch. Our national launch is happening May 19th. May 19th, you definitely do not want to miss it. And so you'd want to register for, and look, just as you talk about it, here comes the link. And you can go to the bit.ly 1 million Black voters are 1MBVR launch. This is case sensitive, so pay attention to that and join us. We're going to have all of our organizational leads. We're going to hear from some of our important individual leaders, like Mignon Moore and Donna Brazil. And I don't know about you, but we're going to have Donna Brazil breaking down voting rights and telling us exactly how power is built. And I, for one, am going to be in that conversation, taking notes and eating popcorn. So I hope you all can join me. The other thing is building community also doesn't just mean everything has to be heavy. We also need to bring that joy. So encourage things like shouting out birthdays, recognizing when good things happen, celebrating the fact that people showed up for the group. This is supposed to be fun, so let's make it fun. Let's do interesting things that kind of help bring us together and make people want to be seen. One of the things that we're doing in one of the circles that I'm leading is mostly young people, and they are graduating. They're going to college. I showed up and we started posting wins yesterday. This one made it through a track meet and got a track scholarship. This one graduated from high school. This one just got an acceptance letter. We just started celebrating. Makes you feel good, makes it feel fun, makes it seem like some people are paying attention. Nona asked a question that I think is a really good one. And she says, how do you not play the blame game when these people are to blame for the place we're in by not voting? Oh, Nona. I know. But listen, sadly, the blame game is not going to get us where we need to be. And the reality is, maybe they chose not to vote, but let's be honest. There was a lot, when I say there were billions of dollars spent to encourage them not to vote. So this is not all on them. Think about all of the mis and disinformation that had to occur, and in fact did occur, to keep Black people from voting. Here's what I would say: turn that into a conversation with your circle of 10. Talk about what are the things that made you not want to vote? What are those things that made you not want to show up? That it could be the basis of the conversation. Because there might be stuff that in fact, I assure you, there will be things that we learn about how people perceive information, about how they are being targeted, that we may not be sensitive to. Some of us are kind of super advocates. And so a lot of these things around misinformation don't show up in our timeline. You want to know why? Because they know how impervious we are to it. But for other folks who are exploring and trying to find new information, trying to find ideas, and just want information, yeah, some of that information that they may get is not going to be right. And how were they to know? The other thing is because it looks like it comes from a trusted source. And let's face it, some of our trusted sources, especially some of our celebrities, they've kind of let us down. And so we got to override all of that. We got to override all of that and do something different. Okay, Alicia, I see you. Yes, going back to the hood and getting the people involved. I love that. They don't believe in the system, but how do they handle conversations? Well, listen, one thing we know about people who are older, they done been through some stuff. So one of the things that I would do is I would say, listen, we've been through some stuff, but this ain't the first time. What can we learn from what other people did when they were in this situation? And more, and listen, this isn't just about the past. Let me be really clear about that. Some of this conversation, in fact, a lot of this conversation could be like, well, what do you want to see? I mean, hey, they're burning it all down anyway. Let's reimagine how we want it to be. And let's show up less about bring it back and more about build it better. Let's show up and saying, hey, politicians, we ain't working, we don't really care what you want to do. You work for us. We want to let you know what we expect. This is the future that we want. We want a future that includes this. And by the way, this isn't just Congress. These are conversations you should be having with, yes, expanded playbook. Come on, Nona. These are conversations that you should be having with your city council people, your county people, your mayors. These are conversations that you should be having with those who are your politicians next door. Because if they're down at the county commission or city council and passing, for instance, something as basic as land use laws that are allowing things into your community that you don't want, it's because you haven't told them what you expect. You haven't told them that you expect them to be prioritizing safe neighborhoods where the trash gets picked up, where there's spaces, safe spaces for kids to play and gather, where there are community centers so that our teens can go and have a safe place to hang out with activities that are not boring and that they too learn how to build community. But the reality is, politicians follow us. And if we've been sitting down not doing nothing, they just making up their own way. We have to tell them. Thank you, Alicia. I too grew up in the 80s. And yes, you know, we never had to fight this voting rights stuff. We never had to fight for civil rights because by the time we came around, all this stuff was already done for us. And all we got to do was enjoy it. Well, sadly, we didn't make it out of here with full enjoyment life. So now we got to get our butts back in the game and do what our parents did. And some of us, our grandparents. So yeah. No, this is a good point Elizabeth brings up. She asked, do you say, hey, I'd like you to be in my circle of voters? No, I mean, yes, you could, but I like to approach it as, hey, I'm building a community about how we can make change for ourselves. I admire the way you think. I'm encouraged by some of your ideas, and I'd love for you to be part of the community that is thinking about change. Yes, you can talk about it's part of 1 million voters rising. Of course, we encourage that. But the basis of this is the rising part. The basis of this is, hey, we are the change we want to see. And what can we do together? And again, it's not just your 10. You want to also be saying, I want you to be a part of my 10, which is a part of however many circles of 10 that exist in your state, which is a part of however many circles of 10 that will exist nationally and maybe even internationally. We don't even know. So this thing just continues to get bigger and bigger. And remember, it's not just one organization doing this. It's 12. It's 12 organizations building these circles. We already have more than 1,000 circle leaders signed up. If you add an extra zero to that, that means we're already on track to register 10,000, and we've only been doing this 30 days. Imagine what it's going to look like when we continue to grow that out exponentially. So, here's something that's important. All the work doesn't have to be on you. Help members get involved. Let them, maybe create a potluck situation. Maybe figure out who else can bring ideas. Maybe you schedule 2 or 3 opportunities and you let different people pick the subject matters. This is not about you just dominating. This is about you bringing people into a community. And guess what? When you're in a community, everybody gets to speak, everybody contributes, and you ought to be looking for a way for them to do that. Most importantly, you might hear some stuff you don't want to hear. Do not shut it down. Talk it through. This is how you let people know that even when they say something that you think might be bat crazy, and you will hear some of that. In fact, some of you may be the ones saying some of that if we're being honest, but let it go. I'm not saying let it go as just and ignore it, but let the conversation flow. Ask others what they think about it. Pull in, Google some stuff and say, "Hey, let's see if that's actually true. Who's saying that?" Play out to the logical conclusion. What does that get us? If none of us show up, do we end up in a worse position? Because I would say the fact that y'all didn't show up maybe got us in a worse position. So let's try something new. Let's do something new. Make sure everyone has a voice, and that's what's important. And then finally, figure out a way to keep the circles connected, keep your community connected in between meetings. Listen, we are busy people. We got a lot of things going on. We can't be meeting every week, but there are certainly things that we can do, encouragement that can be had to keep people connected. Drop some articles, include some social media posts. Hell, I'm a fan of the funny meme. All of that works, and you can do all of it. Don, I'm not sure what you're confessing to, but I hope it's something good. So I just want to so we've talked about the different ways that we can do this. I want to dig in a little bit more to just think about what these gatherings and this format should be. Um, this could be stuff that you already do. It could play into things like, are you a person who hosts Sunday dinner? Well, invite a few of them over. Are you a person who does cookouts or game nights or hangs out and does barbershop and beauty shop talks? Listen, this could be you taking, or you all deciding to go to something together. I see that Nona's on. Nona is a tour guide. Nona, this could include taking your circle to the museum and sharing with them, hey, this is what has happened in the past, and what are the possibilities, and not just use it as a way to think backwards, but as I said, as a way to think forward. If you were setting the agenda, what would it look like? Don't forget your virtual options. This does not have to be you spending a lot of money or going through a lot of effort. Some of this can just be doing a virtual game night or watching a group movie together. A lot of movie channels now have it so that you can share a video through a FaceTime or on the app or something like that. So think about how you do that. That could be fun times. And maybe it's a movie that is thought provoking that then bears out conversation. Think about coffee runs, handwritten checked in notes if you're in person, voice notes, as I've mentioned before. I love a meme. I should be a meme, don't you think? Okay, maybe not. Maybe that's for later. That's going to be one of my goals in life, is to be a meme. I just decided that just now. Okay, we could also think about some quarterly things and this is where we really want you to think about deep dives. Maybe you go and, as I said, do a museum trip, a day trip. Maybe you go to a workshop. We will have a lot of activities that we're encouraging if you're part of Win with Black Women, we're encouraging our state leads to be thinking about how they are supporting circle leads. So there will be activities that are happening in your state. Maybe you all can all go together and show up to something. Think about, I mentioned a virtual film screening. And then don't forget the civic moments. Some of you all are still in primaries and have primary elections coming up. So maybe one thing you can do is start with, Holly, it says the stream ended. What happened?
The stream's still going.
Oh, okay. She said it stopped. Okay, we're good. We're still here. I hope. Okay, you can see it. Okay. All right, Nona. I don't know what happened. I don't want to miss any of you all. Okay. So anyway, we are still in primary elections. We got some really important ones coming up. Okay, yay, yay, you see me. We got some really important ones coming up. We just had one this week. May 19th is another big one. And we have primaries all the way through August, several in June. We take a break in July, and then we're right back at it in August. And so we can take advantage of things that are happening right now. Pull up your virtual ballot. You can go to Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote.org, and there is a way for you to download what's on your ballot, see what's on your ballot, check it out. You can also do the exact same thing at winwithblackwomen.org. Check out your ballot, see what's going on, make sure that you go through the ballot. Listen, some states, I'm going to pick on California, some states that ballot is intimidating. That thing could be 100 freaking pages with so many dang initiatives and stuff like that. You're like, I don't even know what all of this means. That is an excellent topic for you to discuss with your circle. And maybe you have to do it in 2 or 3 sessions because the ballot is so long. But really, we can pick on DC too. Okay, Nona, we will. But if that ballot is getting lengthy, then its chances are people are going to get voter fatigue. This is also an opportunity to say, hey, don't try to go in and vote on this. Let's vote from home. Let's vote by mail. Let's get those ballots. Let's get them delivered to us. Let's fill them out in the comfort of our own homes. And then we can take them and drop them in a drop box, drop them back off at the Board of Elections, mail them in if that's what we need to do. But the point is that this allows us to have a real conversation, and they are doing it as part of a community. I'm not suggesting that you share your vote necessarily, but I am saying when people know that all of us are voting and they're voting within a community of people that they've been engaging with, it feels a little bit different. It feels a little bit different. You can do this virtually as well by sharing your screen. Most Board of Elections have sample balloting as well that you can pull up. So if you don't find it on one of the resource sites, you can always go to your local Board of Elections. I think it is important to always be clear about inviting both in person and virtual options because everybody can't show up in person. We want to, but it can't. I appreciate Stevie. Thank you for talking about how important it is for us to encourage them to go to trusted sources to verify the information. Great point also, because all of your circle won't be where you live. So you may live in Georgia, but members of your circle may be in North Carolina or California or Michigan. And so one of the things that we've done and why I'm directing you to these tools specifically is because these tools will be able to pull up ballots, information based on where people live, no matter where they're from. So you all can have a conversation and compare what's on each other's ballots. You may find that there are things on the California ballot that you wish you had in Michigan. And that may be the point of you reimagining the way things work in Michigan. And so this is just all a part of sharing. I hope you're starting to see a little bit of a theme here. And the theme is let's talk about it. Let's talk about it and then let's act, but let's not act as one. Let's act together. Let's figure out more stuff we can do together and more stuff we can do in community. All right, so we're getting down to the nitty gritty. As we are doing this, we want to give you some clear do's and don'ts because I know my people, sometimes y'all just need a bright line, and here it is. So, first and foremost, we want you to start with love and trust. These are people who know you, who already trust you. That is where you want to start. Also, as you are inviting people in, do this in a personal way. Let them know that you see them and hopefully they see you. This isn't about that you are more superior. This is about the fact that you're committed to doing something different and you want them to be a part of the change. Remember, you can ask the friends and family to bring other people so you don't have to build your circle alone. Everybody in your circle should have or feel like they have some kind of responsibility. Make sure you introduce your circle members to each other early. Some of your members of your circle may not know each other, but we all like meeting new people. Well, some of us, some people like meeting new people. Well, they'll like meeting these new people because these people will be part of their community. Take on and create group spaces. Create spaces where members can talk. Where it's not just you. If you have, I also encourage you if you have all women and all Black women who are part of your circle, have them join us in a Mighty app. Have us join us on the Win with Black Women app. Be a part of those conversations. These conversations are not on you alone to join. These conversations are things that we want to continue to do in community and not just introducing them to other circle members, but introducing them to a whole community of people who are doing this. Don't forget, offer both in person and virtual opportunities. Make sure that at some point you are checking their registration or having them to register. And when you're looking at ballots, and make sure you're aware of the voter registration deadline so that you don't miss them. And then here is my favorite thing. This is probably beyond leaning in on love and trust. The second most important thing is appreciation and celebration. Take time every time you are engaged with each other to acknowledge that we did something good, that we're doing something that could change the game, that the fact that we're even having this conversation puts us in an important group of people who are poised for change because we are involved and engaged. When people show up and you all do activities together, celebrate how beautiful it is that you are doing the things. Post stuff on social media. Let folks know we outside. And for those of us who are virtual, let folks know we inside, but we working. Either way, works. Now here's some don'ts. Do not lead with voter registration at your very first conversation. It's boring. Nobody wants to talk about that. And if they're not registered to vote, it's on purpose. It's because they are cynical, because they are disappointed, maybe because they are afraid, but there's something blocking them. And we need to build community first so that we can understand how to support them through that. Don't send mass text messages as your invite. This should be personal. Try not, you may have an into strangers, but let it be warm introductions. We're not asking you to go stand out on street corners and then invite those people into your homes. We want you to start with your friends and family because those are the people who already love and trust you. Make sure that from the moment folks are a part of your circle, that they feel like they're in community. So do not let the circle feel like they are standing one on one. That is not helpful. It is not helpful for you to have one on one conversations because those conversations give you a community of two. We want people to feel like they're part of a community of 10 that's part of other communities and larger communities. So they don't get that when they're one on one. Don't assume everybody can show up in person. So make space for those who have limitations. Lecturing, shaming, and blaming and pressuring people about voting is not the way to get it done. Don't go silent between meetings. Keep people connected. And don't. This is my number one don't. Don't drop people who seem disengaged. Stay patient and stay present. In fact, I suspect it's those that are not disengaged that are used to being cut out, and that's why they say, "Oh, if I don't engage, then they'll stop talking to me." Nope. Nope, we're still here for you because we still love you and we know how important it is for you to be a part of the conversation. Um, um, and so that is so important. Okay, we are wrapping up, and this is what I would need you to, as we wrap up, here's what I want you to remember. We are not trying to argue with people. That is not what we're doing. We're not trying to convince people that they should do what we do. We're not trying to convince people that we are right and they are wrong. We are building trust through relationship. We're doing it in living rooms, on video calls, and group chats. The circle is about strategy. Community is the method, and registration and turnout will follow naturally. When folks feel like this is what the community is doing, it makes them feel powerful. Think about the last time you went to maybe a rally and you might have shown up and thought, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to make a difference. And then you get to the rally and you hear the speakers and you hear the music and you feel the energy of the hundreds of people who have joined you. Or sometimes it's a small rally, even 20 people who have joined you, and you say, "Oh my goodness, I am not alone." That is the feeling that you get when you're in community. And if you don't believe me, you can check out the Montgomery rally that's going to be happening in just a little bit. And if you're not in Montgomery, Alabama, you can check it out at Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote YouTube, and you will not miss a freaking thing. And you will see, even virtually, how you are part of something bigger, which you already are because you're a part of 1 million Black Voters Rising. Okay, here are your next steps. Don't worry if you can't get this written down. Remember, this information is available on the website. First, name your circle of 10. Do not do this in your head. Write it down. Mark their name with a star. Tag them so you can put circle of 10 on their contact in your phone so that you can easily find them. Remember, make your first ask personal. Reach out to them personally, one person at a time, no group blast. Step number 3, set up your group chat. Figure out a space that's shared where you are already building community, even when you're not together. Plan your kickoff gathering. You ought to have one moment where people just to get to have a good experience with each other. It's going to make them want to come back. So think about that, what that could be, and it can be in person or virtual. Be sure to check your registration. You can use vote.org, or as I said, you can go to Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote.org, or you can go to winwithblackwomen.org as well. And of course, you can register to vote on 1 million Black Voters Rising. The reality is, I'm agnostic as which place or space you choose to go. Just make sure that you get folks registered. We are trying to make it easy for you. And then finally, if you are part of Win with Black Women, especially, the good news is we encourage you to connect with your state leads. We have trained the state leads and they are excited. And our state leads are going to be doing exciting things. And even if you're not currently a part of Win with Black Women and you want to be part of what the states are doing, I know the state leads welcome all folks to join them and be engaged with them. Black women, you can too be a part of what the state leads have planned. And they have forums coming up, they have activities, they have adventures, and all of that is going to be other ways that we build community. All righty. Well, guess what? We made it to the end, folks. And that is it for me. I just want to say it has been amazing hosting this space and being in this space with you this evening. We got it done in less than an hour. This training, we will make this training available as a quick reminder. Please go to 1 million Black Voters Rising and hit the resource tab, and you can download your Build Your Circle toolkit instantly. It is totally available for you. And if you are part of Win with Black Women, please feel free to tag me or DM me in the app, or hit me in the Circle Leader spot, or hit each other. I think what I'm going to do is create a Circle Leader space. I'm sorry, I'm going to create a Black Voters Rising space so we can all share our good news and good information. You all have been amazing. Thank you all for being a part of this training with me. And most importantly, special shout out to those who participated in the chat and gave us tips and asked us important questions. We're not done. 2 dates to remember. May 19th is coming up. May 19th will be our national launch. So you definitely want to be a part of that. And we will have our next training, which will focus on how an opportunity that you can use to host an in-person event. And it will teach you how to run this game that is so much fun. It's a conversation game to make it fun and easy. So we give you tools. So if you're interested in doing like a kind of house party type event that's made for folks who want to meet with their circle in person, that training is coming up on May 28th. Until then, have a great time. Enjoy this May season, and we will see you soon.